management has to be managed very, very carefully, because once you fail, then the thing is gone forever. People will never again trust the new paradigm. So we need to be very careful while introducing lean in the site. So people can consult ILC or consult IIT Madras. We are very glad to help in people to start lean practices in their site. Remember three things. Lean is not about working hard, but working smarter. And many people have a thinking that lean means, oh, additional work. It is not. It's only working differently. You are being more thorough, you're being more systematic, you're being more conscious, having a global, holistic approach, and so on. So lean is simply working differently. And lean can be a very good game changer, but it works only if we change. If you want to stick to the old concepts and methods, then it may not work and we'll start blaming lean. So please have a very carefully planned strategy towards implementing lean and switching over to lean. And if you do that, it'll be really great. Many surveys, the leading consultants like McKinsey or BCG or KPMG, they've analyzed the Indian construction industry, what are its ailments and so on. And they all recommend lean as the panacea, as the remedy, as the solution. It can be a great system, but will yield results only if you practice it properly. And each organization has to work out its own strategies. There can be different solutions for different projects. And in the long run, switching over to the lean way can be the best way. And may you all get fat with lean. Okay. All the best wishes. Anytime you have a problem, look at www.ilce.in, and you can always approach ILC for any help you want. Thank you. Good day.
That was a very quick introduction to lean construction management, the concepts and the tools. As I had get a much more detailed briefing on lean from the recording of today morning's session. That was called the Lean Construction Celebration. You can see the video in CIDC's ICW website. Now we have a panel discussion with the top honchos from the construction industry, whose organizations are all actually practicing lean construction. I now request Dr. Ashwin Mahalingam of IIT Madras, Department of Civil Engineering, Building Technology and Construction Division, to take over the conduct of the panel discussion and moderate the discussion. Dr. Ashwin Mahalingam.
So hello and welcome to this panel discussion on lean practices and the benefits from lean. I think we're all in agreement that the Indian construction industry could improve in terms of its overall performance, and that includes finishing projects on time, finishing projects on budget, finishing projects to acceptable standards of quality, and so on. Right? Now, we've been looking as an industry for solutions for quite some time. This is not a new problem. We've recognized it, and we've been making small improvements over the years in terms of improving the way we build and design things. One of the solutions that has come across our horizon is this notion of lean construction. Lean construction has been around for several decades. I think the first time I heard of lean construction was in 2002 or 2003. And I think even in India, lean construction has been around for over 10 years now. ILC itself is over 10 years old. So the question that we want to address in this panel is this lean construction just another fad? Is it just another buzzword that people throw around and everyone's proud of saying that they're using lean without really doing much? Or is it really the real deal? Right? Is lean construction or at least one of the solutions that the construction industry really needs to look to as it tries to improve its overall performance? So that essentially is the question that is in front of us. Now, if somebody had asked us this question 10 years ago, there was really no way that we could have answered it conclusively, because most of the industry hadn't heard of lean, much less implemented it. If we had asked this question 5 years ago, we would still have had difficulty finding an answer, because a few people had started implementing lean, but even those lean implementations were not really of any sizable scale to draw a conclusion. But today, I think we've matured enough along our lean journey for us to really tackle this question of, is lean just a buzzword, or is it really the real deal in helping us improve construction processes? In order to sort of answer this question, I'm going to use the tagline from a very famous movie that I'm sure all of you have either seen or heard of. And this is the movie Sholay, one of the most famous movies in the Indian cinematic universe. And some of you might recall that the tagline for Sholay was the greatest cast ever assembled. Right? That was the tagline for Sholay. So we have the greatest cast ever assembled with regards to construction here for this panel discussion. We have six very, very eminent personalities who are leaders in the construction industry. And I will just quickly mention who they are. We have Mr. Anup Mathew, Senior Vice President and Business Head of Godrej Construction. We have Mr. Giridhar Rajagopalan, who's the Executive Director Technical for AFCON. We have Mr. R. Shankar Narayan, who's a Senior Executive at the Buildings and Factories Unit at Larsen & Toubro, India's largest construction company. We have Mr. Devarajan, who's the Managing Director of URC Construction. We have Professor Koshi Varghese, Professor at IIT Madras, and Professor N. Raghavan, who is currently a Professor of Practice at IIT Madras, but has also spent several years at in industry, in the construction industry in leadership position. So we have put together what I consider the greatest cast ever assembled, the Sholay panel, to help us answer this question of, how effective is lean construction? What are its benefits, right? Is it a fad? Is it the real deal? Okay. So the way we'll go about this panel is I have a few rounds of questions. I will ask each of these questions, and I will ask each of these panelists to reflect on these questions. And after these questions, if we have a little bit of time, we can get into a little bit more of a, impromptu discussion on some of the points that come up. Okay. So my first question to the panelists, so this is round one, that most of you now have either implemented lean, for those of you who are practitioners, or have overseen the implementation of lean with regards to Professor Koshi and Professor NRG. So from your perspective, are there actually specific benefits that you have seen or experienced from using lean, right? Can you share with us, if so, what those benefits were? Maybe we'll start off with Anup. Anup, could you tell us specific benefits that Godrej Construction has seen from implementing lean?
Yeah. Firstly, thanks, Ashwin, and thanks to all our fellow panelists. I think you said it rightly. 10 years back, I think this would have been more difficult to answer in terms of tangible benefits. 5 years back, we were still learning and experimenting, and maybe there was a certain amount of uncertainty. But I think at this point of time, speaking for our own organization in Godrej Construction, and from whatever I've heard from many of our fellow panelists, I think there is no doubt that lean construction has worked, and we have seen significant benefits on account of adopting it. So the primary benefit is actually a little intangible. We've seen that when we work on such projects where we implement lean construction, we found that the collaboration over the period of time has been far better. And many of our projects, the stakeholders, the people who are PS team members, including our own team, our suppliers, our designers, architects, all of them have come to this conclusion that it has worked in terms of being a more collaborative environment to work in. But has it been, was that feeling all along there? The answer is no. We had a lot of resistance initially, a lot of pushback, and in a way I could sense that there was discomfort. This was not the way people were used to working, and unless you have top management support, I don't think this would see the kind of benefits in the long run. That's one thing I clearly felt, and I've had several discussions with our own team members This is not my view alone. This is a view which many of my team members have shared, and they're saying this more out of experience rather than a perspective which is my perspective. The second thing which we have seen is tangible benefits in terms of time reduction. And this is something, again, which can be measured. Fortunately for us, we had a project which had four about 28 story towers. They were largely identical, though they were not completely identical at the basement levels. And we found that our project duration for the first building when we started out was about 4.5 years. And the most recent building, we've been able to complete in almost 3 years. Now, to some extent, there is some benefit which would have come out of learnings of the previous towers, and any project you start normally has certain additional work to be done. But I wouldn't attribute it all to that. We've seen the benefits of that, percolating to the others. And of course, the last is that continuously we are able to improve. We have seen that every time we a project closure, we are able to extend it to the remaining projects, not necessarily the same project, but even beyond. These are the benefits I think we've experienced, and I'll be happy to take on any other questions related to this.
Yeah, thanks, Anup, for emphasizing both the tangible and intangible benefits, and actually giving us some quantitative data which sort of shows that lean has made an impact. Let me move on to Mr. Devarajan. Sir, from URC Construction's perspective, and you are a sort of a medium-sized contractor, medium to large-sized contractor, have you seen the benefits of using lean in your organization?
Yes, Mr. Ashwin, definitely. I feel I'm a fortunate company to be part of this group, because when you were selecting, or IIT and ILC were selecting companies, out of the 5 or 6 companies, all of them had been given 2 projects as a sample project, whereas we got only 1 project at that time. But still, it made us to think that why not we also? So we vigorously and very committedly we started implementing lean in our project, that sample project Tex Valley, where we could experience a considerable improvement on the wastage of reinforcement scrap as well as the cycle time of slabs. The wastage of scrap has come down from 5.98% to 0.29%. A significant saving was there. At that time, Mr. Jaishankar and Mr. Mohan Babu, who were part of this team, has very much enthused to adopt it in our company in a better way. So that way, this is a tangible benefit which we could visualize. And the next bigger project, like the Tata Realities Ramanujam IT City, where it was a complex 2 million square foot to be completed in 22 months, definitely the lean practice with the help of people like Kalyan has helped us a lot in achieving the target. We were always compared with the Leighton, the Australian company, because they were the phase 1 contractor. But with this lean, we were able to very strongly match the standards, even at times outbeat the expectation. The cycle time has reduced from days to 17 days. So these are all purely the practice of lean has helped us to do it. Similarly, as Mr. Anup said, for me, the intangible benefit is in the last 10 years, we have grown from 100 crore to 1000 crore. We have a dream to become a $2 billion company in the year 2031, which will be the 75th year of our organization and the 100th year of our founder. So for which we are taking this lean practice across the organization as one important platform with the ERP in place, so that all the data and all informations, because we all worry too much about the wastage of natural resource. So much of discussion is happening across the world. But beyond that, more than that, the human resource is something valuable than that. It is, as per my conviction, human resource is very, very important, which is being wasted like anything in our industry, be it the timing of our construction professionals or anybody. So this lean practice, I believe, is going to help us in shaping our industry in the way forward in the coming 10 years, where companies like us can definitely fulfill our aspirations. And at the same time, how do we retain our workforce or our team of people? There has to be a measurement by which we can evaluate their performance. So our HR team found in the current situation, we are implementing it in 11 projects. See, there is a metric which is being evolved. Like, do you practice lean? Are you practicing BSM or the other tool? So why not you practice? So it kindles them. See, many times diploma holders or the graduates, those who have not postgraduated, do not have any this kind of learning opportunity in our industry where this helps. This is my thought, Mr. Aswin.
Thank you very much, sir. I mean, a lot of interesting points, but one thing that caught my attention when you gave us that anecdote about yourselves and Leighton is that it looks like lean might also be able to make us globally competitive. And that I think is something interesting that we can come back to. I'd like to now move on to Mr. Giridhar. Sir, you build in some ways very different structures from what typically Mr. Devarajan and Anup and others build, because you build infrastructure and some of your infrastructure is in some of the most challenging physical conditions out in the middle of nowhere and all of that. So in that sort of context, as an infrastructure company, infrastructure construction company, do you find that there are benefits from lean as well?
Good afternoon, Professor Ashwin, and good afternoon to my fellow panelists. Let me first take the intangible part of the benefits of lean. While there has been definitely a saving on time and cost, there is also an attitudinal and behavioral change. When I say that, there is a lot more of openness, there is a lot more of sharing, there is a lot more of collaboration in the projects in which we have implemented lean. This, I think, is very much required, especially in the context of our type of projects, where most of the times there is at least one or two new type of activities and the learning curve which needs to be shortened in order to meet the expectations of the customer in terms of timely delivery. So lean definitely has helped us. What I would do is I will try to share with you about 5 projects, the different tools we had used and the quantitative benefits that we have got out of it. The reason why I would like to share the quantitative benefits is, when we first wanted to implement lean, the question that people ask is, what is in it for us? As you rightly said, is it just a word, and or does it really have depth in it? So we had started monitoring and trying to bring out, while the quantitative part with a considerable amount of effort, I thought it worthwhile to share it here in this forum. The first one was a jetty project which we had been doing a lot of berth, where each bend is around 6 meters. They were piled berths, and the superstructure is to be built offshore on this. The cycle time initially when we started was 10 days, and we started looking at one tool, that is the waste reduction techniques, and this by itself has helped us reduce the cycle time from 10 days to 6 days. This gave us an overall benefit